Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CoAnalyst podcast series. Today, we're going to be diving in and discussing how CoAnalyst connects all the layers of digital intelligence, including OSINT, or open source intelligence, evidence, forensics, financial investigations, and even documents. I'm Allison Sullivan from Penlink, and with me today is John O'Hare. How you doing, John?
I'm great. Thank you. Excited to be here. I love this stuff. I geek out on this stuff. And the fact that we have the ability now with CoAnalyst to bring all these data sets and disparate data together is incredibly powerful. So I'm excited to talk about it today. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, connecting all the layers of digital intelligence involves integrating and analyzing different types of data from all different types of sources. So, the goal is obviously to provide a holistic view for an investigation. So, like I said earlier, it includes OSINT, open source intelligence. It'll include digital evidence, forensic data, financial transactions, location data, and even external documents. And by bringing all these layers together, co-analysts will then enable investigators and end users to see the bigger picture and uncover deeper insights.
Yeah. Obviously, the ability to connect all these diverse data sets is what sets CoAnalyst apart. It's OSINT's one tool in the toolkit, right? We have multiple layers. We have uploaded documents. We have financial documents, financial sources, crypto transactions. It goes on and on. Judicial data, extraneous data, whatever you want. Research data, which I've been utilizing a lot with the PDF analysis side of that to ingest to kind of bolster some of my own cases and knowledge when I'm working within the case. And I could give examples of that later, but it's amazing. So, works with the blogs, works with forums, works with everything online. So everything we looked at online now we can analyze very quickly with CoAnalyst to get a comprehensive understanding of what it is and how it works within our entire investigation.
Right. And, to that note, CoAnalyst really does leverage, more advanced natural language processing and semantic search capabilities to then sift through all that data and analyze all the vast amounts of this open source data quickly and accurately. Christine and I talked about this in a previous podcast episode. We really dove deep into that. And, CoAnalyst will then really identify the relevant information. It extracts key insights. And it might even highlight connections or, it will highlight those connections that you might not even be aware of. It allows analysts, investigators, researchers to really stay informed and gather that invaluable intelligence from publicly available sources.
Yeah. And even greater now, we live in the digital world, right? The physical world is huge, right? It takes forever to get from A to B. If you travel a lot like I do, I'm very used to the lengthy travel side. But the digital world, I can talk to somebody across the world in a second. I can also gather data from across the world in a second, particularly on the OSINT side, forums, blogs, whatever it may be. Anywhere in the world, I am now touching it very quickly through this beautiful thing we have called the internet. And so I think the ability to do that is enhanced with CoAnalyst because we have multilingual factors involved in this. We can bring in all these languages, all these different types of environments that we may have required a linguist before or native speaker, and utilize CoAnalyst to decipher and identify the information in a foreign language. So you don't need to speak that language anymore. You don't need to find somebody or use a translation. You can actually do that in click of the button with CoAnalyst, translate it and summarize it for me. And it's incredible because when you work in a global intelligence environment, which we all do now, right? Whether we know it or not, everything is global just because everything we touch is, connected to, 1, 2 degrees or 3 degrees of separation is somewhere else in the world, usually 1 nowadays. We bring this all in and we can decipher it very quickly utilizing CoAnalyst as a model to, like I mentioned, pull out the language one, even though it drills down. You and I have talked about this in the past, like the indigenous specific language to a specific neighborhood, right, in a specific area. CoAnalyst knows this. It's grabbed such volumes of data and through its large language model that it really can get you on target like that. It's incredible the amount of the speed and the efficiency to which CoAnalyst adds to your investigation.
No, it really is. And, here at Penlink, we've got really two strong areas that we're able to help our end users and help our customers with. And obviously, OSINT is one that you and I are very familiar with and we feel very passionately about. But we can't forget about that digital evidence. So one thing that CoAnalyst really does excel in is processing that information, that digital evidence, coming from devices like smartphones, tablets, computers, all of those things that you're right that we all operate on a daily basis to contact people around the globe. And some of this digital evidence is stemming from text messages, emails, calls, even our app data that you're downloading from all of your apps, and even your browsing history. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Talk to me more about, John, about how CoAnalyst really streamlines the analysis of that digital evidence.
Sure. So judicial data, incredible data, what you can get from a forensic download, right? Just a typical physical, logical, whatever you're getting out of a phone or a device. And we always think of devices, phone or iPad or a laptop, but let's go much bigger than that. Let's go to refrigerators. Let's go to routers. Let's go to drones. Drone controllers contain forensic evidence, just the controller, not the drone. So we got to think large when it comes to everything somewhere has some data contained with it. I mean, our vehicles, right? Everything, infotainment systems. My tire, the OEM, it's going, I mean, the tires are going, they're broadcasting my pressure back, in the amount of digital exhaust coming out of your vehicle alone daily is incredible. It scares people. You can actually look that stuff up, but that's another conversation. But bringing all this, we're not really thinking. We got to think much bigger than the smartphone and the tablet and the laptop. Although those are crucial because, nobody goes anywhere without their phone nowadays. There's other pieces that are connected. So the ability to bring that data through forensics, you download that information, you get that information, but it's vast. I mean, our phones are humongous, right? Just to image a device on a phone, this little tiny thing in our pocket, it could be a huge process, laborious days, depending on the size of the phone. And as they get bigger and bigger, and we approach, terabytes, or I mean, we're getting, who knows when we're into petabyte phones, but we're getting there because everything's there. We have to have the ability to parse that data very quickly. And CoAnalyst does that, right? You can ingest that information, go through it quickly, summarize it, extract those selectors that are relevant to you, and then work within our other products and bring it all together to enrich that data and really get a better understanding of how it really is. So go big on this stuff. People are limiting their ideas to the phones, but think the drones, the fridges, the vehicle infotainments, the smartwatches, you name it. I mean, it just goes on and on. Anything connected to the internet contains data that's relevant to your investigation.
Yeah, it really does. And geez, I never even really thought about the refrigerators. How crazy is that? That's the kind of world that we're living in now, where we can get that data. You're right. Anything and everything we're using now, we can really, really grab and extract that data. And CoAnalyst really supports that process. And we equip it, and it provides tools that'll really detail this forensic analysis and ensure that it remains admissible in court and really preserves all of that data. And being able to analyze this data from all these different digital sources is what really sets CoAnalyst apart.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. No, and it's an incredible tool for all of that, and more. I mean, exactly what you said. This is where we are in the world. It's much bigger than we thought it would be. Nobody realized how fast it was growing, and newer models are making it even crazier. So this is just where we are in the world. It's incredible.
Yeah. So let's shift a little bit. Let's go into financial investigations. I know you and I come from more of the violent crime gang world, but
Yep.
Financial crimes all day, every day. They're all around us, whether we know it or not. And people fall victim to them on a smaller scale and a larger scale, and a lot of it digitally. So forensic data from financial aspects, it's one of the many core pieces for financial investigations. So whether it's tracking the illegal transactions, whether it's uncovering money laundering, whether it's investigating fraud. So what's your take, or what's your knowledge on, how CoAnalyst can actually enhance those financial investigations?
Sure. Well, I mean, let's start with just in the open source side, right? Let's go into a weird use case, like how about Bitcoin ATM machines, right? Where people are laundering money through them. They're disparate locations. Let's identify those locations geospatially, and then utilize other technology that we offer to identify who is at those places at that time. I mean, that's something we could do on our own. Sure. It would take forever. I tried it, trust me. So these are that's just one big case. But really getting granular inside, we can do like returns. Let's talk about cryptocurrency exchange returns, or a Bank of America return, a financial so we start to see the transactional flow that's given to us judicially, after a warrant has been served in some regards, and we ingest that. And then we marry it with online activity. Like we can focus on the blockchain with cryptocurrency, transactional amounts. We can look at lifestyle environment changes on open source intelligence. We can take the digital forensics that was accumulated from a device to geolocate, and also understand apps utilized for these, because most people don't bank anymore in the bank. They utilize the device, right? I trade, you move your money through your phone or your laptop or whatever it may be. And so these are all leaving digital exhaust that, it's so much out there. It's like trying to find specific pieces of sand on a huge beach. But CoAnalyst does it like that. It just brings it recognizes these patterns, it puts them together, and it gets you on target. It really assembles your investigation when you have all these disparate data sets. It's pretty awesome for financial when it comes to that.
Yeah, and another feature that CoAnalyst does is it maps out that the financial investigation, like the networks, the transaction networks. It can visualize the flow of money to and from people, places. It highlights the connections between the entities, identifying maybe a fraudulent company, a front organization, potential shell companies. And the network analysis is huge for any type of financial investigation. And having the ability to use CoAnalyst in that really helps to understand the full scope of that financial crime.
Yeah, totally. Like there's two types of network analysis. It's the social network analysis piece of it, what it does on the financial side. It can tie you to a group. When we do investigations, you and I, we're always not just looking at the who, but the who else. You're looking at the enterprise. If you're doing a larger, nobody really does all this stuff all by themselves, right? There's always somebody else involved. So that's the social network side of it, that we can show through transactions, forensic data, and other pieces, call detail records, whatever it may be, and ingest it into one big repository for us to sift through with CoAnalyst like that. That's the one side. The other side is the location intelligence that we gather from this, because a lot of these networks, like specifically IP addresses, right? When you're utilizing an IP address, although it's generalized in most people's opinion, utilizing CoAnalyst to get on target and then start to drill down, like bringing it from 5,000 mile scope down to a 5-mile scope, is a much better way to start your investigation and utilize other technologies and advances that we have to get down to 5 meters on target, understanding where they are, because geolocation data is incredible. The fact that it can identify, and we've seen this a lot with some of our large language model already, where people are, even in, from an OSINT perspective, and then marrying that to an IP address and the time stamping, and then all sorts of ways you can utilize this process for VPN busting, which is a whole nother topic, things that we do, but it's incredible. It shows
Yeah, it really is.
it shows where people travel from, where they hang out, where they sleep, pattern of life developed through simple IP, transactional, other pieces, OSINT, and then CoAnalyst analyzing it and getting you like, okay, this is high probability. And then you go to work from there.
Absolutely. And, the location data is just invaluable. It's going to help establish timelines or maybe even debunk timelines. It's going to help corroborate or even debunk alibis. A lot of things, we get asked a lot, can you help me find out if anyone was present during this crime series? Well, we can say yay or nay based on some of this digital evidence and OSINT avenues.
Yeah, totally.
Tripped my words there. But, having CoAnalyst help there to be able to visualize all of that location data. So you think about patterns of travel, movement patterns, hotspots, different routes taken by suspects. Because like we talked about earlier, everybody's on their phones now, and every app, everything you do can be traced and tracked, and being able to see those directions of movement, it's going to be crucial for connecting all those different pieces of an investigation together, and having that understand that spatial relationship between all those different pieces of evidence is really, really going to help you kind of get a better understanding as to what is really going on with the data that you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial for the most, sinister activities too. I mean, we look at this as large, like it can be used in real time. I think what we have to focus on is the fact that, yeah, this is an investigative tool and it's incredible, but it's also a great real-time targeting tool if you're looking for, say, a missing person. We've utilized this actually, our environments exactly in these kidnapping cases when others methods have failed, people have come to us, and we've actually done, and you know this personally, done some kidnap recoveries utilizing a comprehensive strategy. CoAnalyst brings all that together, makes it happen immediately. So I like it as a real-time tool as well as an investigative tool.
Yeah. And CoAnalyst can also handle document analysis. So think about you're getting all those search warrant returns, you're getting all these reports from another agency, evidence, emails, all that kind of digital data. Being able to go through all that in a document format is huge, and it can take so much time. But having CoAnalyst to be able to extract that relevant information and highlight those key insights, that's a game changer for us.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Bringing all this stuff together, particularly like I'll give one example of doing the document analysis. I utilize it for the research piece. So when I'm working a case, one in particular we worked was fentanyl precursors and understanding. So yeah, it's great. I can find all that information through blockchain analysis and all the other methods that we do, but I also needed to incorporate like, why is it so valid? So utilizing the document analysis portion, I can upload like say CDC results on specific precursors, journals, peer-reviewed journals, medical journals on how what the effects of these are, and different types of fentanyl, in particular once the precursors are assembled, furofentanyl, carfentanyl, whatever it may be, and understanding not just painting a picture of what I'm looking at, but why it's so important. So I actually collapsed when I did this drug investigation. I took all these pieces of information from peer-reviewed medical journals that I uploaded, threw them in, and had them locate those precursors and then give me the statistics for each precursor and how they're assembled, and give me a comprehensive background to what I'm looking at. So I had a 360-degree investigation here. I'm not a subject matter expert when it comes to the medical side of it. I'm not a doctor, even though I don't even play one on TV. So this is one of those things where I can rely upon peer-reviewed, highly acceptable information that is utilized throughout that field and bring it into my investigation to really give a comprehensive understanding of what it is I'm doing.
Yeah. And using it for cases like corporate fraud investigations, you're dealing with so much data from an evidentiary perspective, and CoAnalyst can help you sift through that. It can identify discrepancies in financial reports, uncover hidden communications within emails. It can really just detect signs of fraudulent or suspicious activity. And, using that document analysis with the other layers of that digital intelligence, CoAnalyst really helps you just get a much better comprehensive view of the investigation and the data that you're working with.
Yeah, it brings it all together. It's a synergy, which is required in investigations. If you're just looking at the tree, you miss the forest. CoAnalyst brings the whole forest, the whole world into your environment, which makes it that much better. So you get a better understanding. I mean, we also have inherent bias, and we know this, the psychology of intelligence analysis and all that. We do, right? It's almost acting as a peer review too to some of our points. So it's another way of looking at things because it's bringing in much more and then giving you an idea of what you're looking at. And then you decide. I mean, still the human element. That's why we call it CoAnalyst, right? It's not here to replace anybody. It's here to work alongside of you. It's be the subject matter expert on everything you have a question for. And then you still review that data, obviously, because you always do. You verify and vet. That's what we do when you produce a product. But it gets you such a head start. You get you down to the 5-yard line and you got to do the rest and punch it in the end zone. It's really what it does. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, having the ability to use all those different layers of intelligence or all those different layers of data, think about doing things manually. You've got your open source information that you're comparing with your financial records, that you're comparing with your search warrant returns. How do you remember what was in what space? And how do you remember that, this is connected to that? How do you remember that this debunked that theory? And where was that? Well, that's, we're co-analysts, like you said, it's a helper. That's where it comes in and really helps you identify those similarities or even differences. Really taking a deeper look and covering those hidden relationships, those hidden communications is really where CoAnalyst will provide that insight, from into your investigation, as opposed to just looking at every data source independently and isolated. Having that more holistic and interconnected approach by looking at all this data is where CoAnalyst is really going to help you be a little bit more efficient, potentially more accurate, and it just really provides more actionable outcomes.
Yeah, no, it gives you the broader context of everything you're looking at because you're not the expert in everything, and
Mm.
you're not. We're humans, right? We have to take that into account. Like we had this as a machine assisting us. A model actually, not a machine, a model assisting us to understand what we're looking at. Instead of having 4,000 sticky notes across your board, right, where you're trying to like disconnect it to that or creating some sort of an entities graph, which is still great, but man, that is so like 10 years ago now, maybe 20 years ago when you look at that because you look at it and it's still a big cluster. It's a mess, and you still have to make sense of everything you're looking at. CoAnalyst will make sense of it very quickly and tell you exactly what you're looking at and why you're looking, why it's there, and why it's relevant to your investigation. So it can help you sift through the noise that you may have created yourself as well, but also brings in, like you mentioned, actionable insights that really get you on target much quicker. I mean, it's a necessary component as we keep bringing in more and more data. The intelligence analysts keep bringing in more and more data, law enforcement, and, criminal, everybody. It's more data, more data, more data, and it becomes overwhelming. You need something that helps you get there. And that's what CoAnalyst does.
Yeah. And, think about it in a real world application. We're talking about working one type of investigation or one area of research. Think about your colleagues that you're working with, your superiors. They're coming in with other requests, working in an intel unit. You're getting requests from the chief of police. You're getting requests from different executives, different stakeholders. How are you handling all that, but yet still not missing that needle in the haystack that many are doing manually? That's where co-analyst really is going to reduce your time, your effort. You're going to be so much more effective and piecing together those different pieces of that investigation all into one single platform. A lot of us, when I used to work in law enforcement, you have multiple systems for multiple purposes. Bringing that all in together under one umbrella is really where you become so much more comprehensive and much more efficient. And that way you're not getting bogged down by all these monotonous, detailed data analyses in all these different systems.
Yeah, we need to know what we're looking at, right?
Mm.
We need visualizations. We need to break it down into its simplest form. And with CoAnalyst, we can do that. We can produce the results to push to the field, to the tactical edge immediately at the field level, right? The door kicker level, so they understand what they're doing. And then also at the command level, so they understand maybe that's a different report from the same information. Maybe that's more comprehensive. But you can drill this down utilizing CoAnalyst to create these different types of visualization data reports or even summary reports based on all the data you've collected and give it to those that need it and will understand exactly how you wrote it. You wrote it for them utilizing this. And it's the same information. It's just been written in one's actionable needs tactical edge immediately. One's more strategic at a command level. What's next? Like all of that is incorporated into this, which is awesome for any environment that you work in.
Yeah, and John, you talk about like what's next. Well, what's happening now, and if you look at the media recently, there's a lot going on in threat landscape of people making threats online. Again, everything is online, everything's with your device. And if we actually take a moment to look at a real life case that co-analyst was a success with, was a research case that one of the analysts on my team did. One person had made just a comment that would, kind of raised your spidey senses a little bit. Well, co-analyst was able to identify this person's social media account and then being able to identify even more social media accounts, one of which was a professional platform. So the person would share their personal sentiments on one platform, professional sentiments on another. And if you were going through this manually, finding that professional platform, the sentiments there might mislead you that that person really follows that theory or that train of thought. But the reality is, looking at all the other social media platforms that CoAnalyst was able to point us to, taking all the data from all of that, putting it all together and sifting through, giving that threat assessment that CoAnalyst was able to find may not have been something that the analyst on my team was able to discover manually or even just by piecemealing it. Because when you get thrown off by a legitimate professional platform and you're looking at that and focusing on that, you could really be misguided. But CoAnalyst, again, discovers those hidden things and different financial transactions or, digital forensics for this portion of the investigation. And,
Yep.
I hope that the message is coming across that CoAnalyst was really able to just go through all those data sets and come up with a suggestion that was very accurate, and leveraging it really got us to the conclusion that we didn't know we had.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And back to digital forensics, and we've talked about this already, but I'm a big fan, right? I used in my former life, did a bunch of it. So I understand the relevancy to that. So like getting on target, getting evidence seized, and then going back. It's a feedback loop. It never stops. So, a specific case that we worked and we got some digital evidence post arrest where they had the phones and download, and we could bring it back in, enrich the data we already knew about, and create a bigger, like palatable, prosecutable report because it's understood much easier, and we can actually, through prompt engineering, utilize CoAnalyst correctly to drill down and give them the bottom line up front, like the bluff, like this is what you have and this is all the evidence. And if they want to go deeper, we can go deeper and we can bullet point that out. It's incredible when you marry the OSINT geolocation data, digital forensics data, all the other data sets into one for an actual case. It's almost like you don't need to go to court because there'll be a plea involved.
Absolutely. And that's, the goal of a lot of prosecuting
Yeah.
offices.
True.
And, cases like these, they just really highlight the power of CoAnalysts and solving investigations or providing insights into investigations to go left or to go right within that avenue of research, and integrating these diverse forms of digital intelligence, open source intelligence is really, like we've been talking about, it's really what the game changer is.
Yeah, no, it's the game changer. I mean, it's game changer. I mean, we didn't expect this a few years ago. We weren't expecting this. This is so disruptive in a good way that it's changing the way we do investigations because it allows us to go so big. So, the go big or go home really does matter now. Like go big, like get everything. Everything matters. Everything. Like we jokingly said the refrigerator. It matters. It could show when somebody, those refrigerators are capturing data. They're connected to the internet. Toasters, cars, phones, you name it. Probably sneakers pretty soon. Who knows? They'll know when you need to go buy a new pair. Nike will do something. But I'm saying this is the world we live in. And to really accumulate this data, you have to have something that helps you do it because it's outgrown human capacity or it's human efficiency, I would say. I mean, this is human capable, but it's laborious. So you need something that's efficient, that's quick, that's tactical and strategic at the same time. And that's what we are. That's what CoAnalyst does.
Yep. And, I hope that everybody can understand and feel the excitement that we have. We're really proud of what CoAnalyst has achieved, what it's brought to us, not only us as end users, but also those that we already have. And we're just really excited about where it's going to, the continuing evolution and really meeting the needs of investigators and end users. And, I'm excited to see what's next. So
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up for today, John. Thank you for
Yep.
joining me. I really appreciate it. I enjoy these conversations that we have. And thank you to our audience. Thank you for joining us today in this in-depth discussion, really focusing on all those layers of data and bringing it all together.
Yeah, excellent. I'm excited. And you kind of queued up the next one we started talking about to draft out what's next. There's some cool stuff coming next. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Thanks
All
to
right,
our
well,
audience.
See ya.
Stay safe, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.